Yeah, so you can just turn your chair.
Yeah.
And then don't worry about it. The reason why the table's there is mainly just so that we can all get some work done. So, yeah, really good to see everybody. Yeah, everybody can see, you can see fine. Can you guys see all right? Fantastic. So, thank you very much for having me. My name is Sean Atwood. I'm what am I? I am a former founder. I started a company when I was 24 and worked at that. My wife and I started the company together. We worked at it for about 10 years, brought in investors, took it public, experienced the ups and downs of that, experienced a lot of litigation afterwards, so understanding all of the different learning processes that went through there, had mentors who weren't great mentors, had mentors that were phenomenal mentors, had all of those things. And then took that experience, became a business mentor. I was a mentor at Bayes Business School at City of London University for an Oxford Bocconi program that was run through the government where we were discussing strategy. So I was an instructor of strategy there to a little over 180 micro businesses. So not necessarily startups, but just less than 9 people. And so I ran lectures 3 times a week and then ran follow-up mentoring with them afterwards as well. And then became an executive coach. I work for, primarily work freelance for a company called MindGym. And in the last 7 years I've been doing that, I've run a little over 2,500 sessions with probably about 45,000 participants around the world. So everything from banking to tech to and everything in between. So pharmaceuticals, travel, worked with Royal Caribbean, that was really nice. It was in Miami, it was lovely. All of those different things. Now, the main purpose of today is it's really, really tough because there's so many different aspects of starting your own company that no one tells you and you can't find. They're not in any business books, they're not in any startup manuals. You can listen to podcasts, you can find different people, but ultimately everybody's story is going to be unique. Everybody's experience is going to be unique. So what we want to do today is I want to start kind of at the beginning. And the beginning is storytelling. No matter what it is that you're doing. And funny enough, you've all done this in the past, sometimes without even realizing it. So for example, when you were applying here, you had to tell a story. And you were telling a story in various different ways. When you apply for different jobs, or when you apply for your end of your project, or when you talk to your tutors, all of those are stories that you're telling that the other person is either buying into or not. So I'll give you, just raise your hand if you've ever gone in with a proposal or an idea and the person that you were talking to said, no, you got to work on that a little bit harder. You ever experienced that before? There we go, of course, the defill. Yeah? So, in that case, what happens is, it's because our story wasn't complete and we weren't hitting the right beats of a great story. And so that's why this is up here, and it's one of the things I will apologize for in advance is I'm great at storytelling and I'm fantastic at speaking. I suck at graphic design, so I give everything to AI and tell it to do it. So yeah, when it comes to, it really is about the narrative that we're going to be doing, and it's really about the narrative that we're going to be using. So what I want to do is, as quickly as possible, hold on, there we go. What I want to do as quickly as possible is get us working on a story. But what I want to do first is just break down the fundamentals of what it is that we are actually doing. So whether you have an idea or not, whether you have a direction or not, all of it comes down to storytelling, no matter who you're talking to. And the ultimate purpose of a story is to, and this is used by Pixar, it's used by everyone. It's used by Procter & Gamble when they create all of their marketing platforms, and it is think, feel, do. So the 3 steps that we use when it comes to storytelling is whatever it is that we're saying, what do we want our audience to think? Okay, what is it that we want them to think while we're talking? It could be about us, it could be about the product, it could be about the world around us, depending on the story that we're telling, but what is it that we want them to think? The next thing is, we want to understand what is it we want them to feel. So what are some of the feelings that we can sort of elicit from them? And then lastly, it's what do we want them to do at the end? And this is kind of a call to action, but it's actually a little bit more than that. It should be crafted all the way through. And once we have that, what it means is we've got a great foundation to fill in all of the different details and all of the different gaps. So who are our audiences? We've got these 4 up here. So we've got investors, we've got customers, we've got teams, we've got hires, we've got partners. What else? Who else could be an audience for our storytelling? Shout it out. As STEM founders, who might be missing from this?
I would say it's quite comprehensive already.
It's pretty comprehensive, yeah. Is there anyone missing from this, do you think? Can you see anyone missing from this? So, one of the biggest things that we have to do is we actually have to have the story for us as well, okay? So partners, great, we want people to be able to help us out. In some cases, they may be unpaid partners, they may be paid partners. Here, for example, I was looking, no one here is in physics, are there? No, okay. So I was looking at I was talking with one of the quantum physics professors because 2 years ago I had a couple of projects that I wanted to get started. So I decided to call them because they worked in the area and to see if we could arrange a partnership in that way. That is most of the time the people that we're going to be talking to, especially at the beginning. Because at the beginning, we're either going to want people to give us money, which can be tough, or we want people to join us and help us out and give us whatever resources they can. Sometimes it's time. Now, depending on the audience and depending on what it is we're trying to do, money may be easier than time may be easier than money, all depends on them. So what we have to do is we have to get into the idea of our audience. So I'd like to ask you to write down for yourselves right now, who do you think, and it doesn't matter, like I said, if you have an idea or not, or you're ready to go, who do you think your next audience might be? Might be a tutor, might be a partner, might be someone you found on LinkedIn that you want to ask for help from. Any of those. Could be an investor if you're that far along. It might be people that you want to get to join you because they're really, really good at what they do. And it doesn't matter if you have a specific person in mind, but just imagine for yourself, what is the character of the audience that you're going to be looking at? Yeah? What if we go up? Yeah?
I couldn't think of anything for the other 3, but for customers, I thought like people are really enthusiastic about productivity.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. So customers. In that case, you're going to be looking at customers. Customers are great because customers, you can usually find a lot of information to be able to start segmenting them because it changes your story. If you're telling this story to, I don't know, a 45-year-old dad of 2, it's a very different story than you might be telling to a 30-year-old investment banker woman who lives in London. Very different stories, very different approaches. But it's important to identify who they are at the very top level. Anyone else have an audience that they've identified?
Partners?
Yeah, partners is a great one. So are these partners you already have? Are these partners that you're going to be getting? That's where we kind of start, and we start asking ourselves some questions there. So the next thing that we do then is we combine the two. And the whole idea of doing this is it's what we want, and the reason why we tell stories is twofold. The main thing about stories is that people remember stories. They won't remember necessarily data or exact pieces of data. They may not remember your background unless you turn it into a story. They may not remember a lot of the other details, but people remember stories. We are designed to remember stories. We are storytelling creatures. We always have been. In a lot of cases, it's all about the information that we pass on through generation after generation. It's all done through stories. Some of the biggest lessons that we learn is all done through stories. And so from that perspective, our story is important. But It's only important if we make it work for our audience. And that's the key thing. Has anyone here, have you ever signed up to a gym before? Yeah? Have you ever walked into a gym, right? Did anyone try to sell to you at the gym? Yeah? Okay, good. Now, when they sold to you, hold on, when they sold to you, did they ask you questions first?
Yeah.
Okay, what kind of questions were they asking you?
It's my case is they're trying to sell coffee in front of the entrance.
Okay, good. Yeah, so they're
they're
trying
like, do you like coffee, and then just
Yeah.
slowly move me into the
slowly move you into it. Good. Sometimes for gym memberships, people will sell things like they will come to you and they'll say, "Oh, when do you like to go to the gym? What kind of exercises do you like to do? What sort of equipment do you tend to use?" And they'll ask those questions, and that is a good salesperson because they haven't started their story yet. But what they're trying to understand is, what is it that you need? What is it that benefits you? And probably one of the hardest things in business, not just from a startup perspective, but from any perspective, is to start a conversation with the other person focused solely on their benefits, on benefits to them. And that's really, really difficult to do. So one of the things that we want to do is, the reason why we use Think, Feel, Do, and the reason why we start with our audience, is we want to understand our audience, because our story isn't about tech. It's not about features. So if that gym person had come up to you and started just saying things like, "Oh, you know, we're open 24 hours. We've got great changing rooms. We've got all types of equipment. It's a cheap membership, and it only goes contract, or there's no contract, so it's only monthly, so on and so forth." Those are all the features of the gym. But what if you can come to the gym anytime? You don't need 24 hours. What if actually, you know what, I quite like year-long contracts because I am making a commitment to myself to go all the time, and if I get a year-long contract, I want it even cheaper. And I live across the street, I don't care about your dressing rooms. Then they haven't told us anything that resonated with us. That's why we ask questions. So in this case, what we want to do is we want to understand our audience as much as possible. And in a moment, we're going to do that. But the reason why is that it allows us to do things like understand what we want them to think, what we want them to feel, and what we want them to do. So when we look at this solves a real problem. That's not bad. But actually, what we want them to do, hey, come on in. Grab chairs. We've got another one here. There we go. So, what we actually want them to do